peak from the balloon, I would think.
Well, the way they work is it's a solid fuel rocket, but instead of lifting from the ground, it's actually carried to the upper atmosphere like 130,000 feet
I
with a
know,
helium
yeah.
balloon. And what happens, this concept was actually done back in the 40s.
Really.
This thing's been done for a while. Yeah, there's nothing new about it at all. Look up the Time magazine. I think it was 1959, Raccoons. And you can see what this is.
Okay.
And
Do you know how high somebody has claimed to get using this?
Using the raccoons in the past, the height was, I don't know what the record is. I think the first balloon that they did, they took it up to like 70,000 feet before the rocket went up. But
well, that's still not very much. Like I don't really think that anybody's ever been above like 150,000 feet or so. The only people who have will be like NASA or other people connected to them.
What did Felix Baumgartner, whatever he's called, get up to? Was it
that was
120?
Under 150,000 feet. It was like 140 something.
140.
So I think that there's a point where you sort of you can't really go any higher with the buoyancy because of there's nothing up there to push up against. And he jumped and he went Mach 2 for a long time until he hit denser gradients of air, and then he finally slowed down. So I think if you get up there to a certain point, you're not going to be able to use a rocket to get any higher.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to find out, and that's my angle on this thing too. Is it's all about learning what is actually possible, and the concept of the raccoon. I think even Van Allen from Van Allen Radio Show, I think he was even one of the developers of this thing.
Right, like what I'm saying, it seems kind of hypothetical and impossible.
Well, they showed it. They showed it.
I'm sure
impossible.
It does, but so did flying. The Wright brothers were told about how hypothetical and how unlikely it would be that they could actually get off into the air. So I don't know. I think you should research raccoons a bit and.
I see how it would be good to get a rocket up that high with a person in it, but I don't think it's going to go any higher than anybody else has ever been.
No, I agree. They showed it on The Right Stuff, which Mark Sargent's always referencing. But in The Right Stuff, they show how it sort of transitioned from the Air Force to NASA, and in that transition, they had test pilots getting up very, very, very high. And the problem was always the air getting too thin. Yeah. And I don't think that will be any different for rocketry. And it's a lot of, ad hoc, admittedly, but flat Earth explanations for rockets not working in space. I just think that does hold true. I don't think it will go up very high. I just think it will run out of air to push against, literally.
Right.
No, the V2 bomber went up at 72,000 feet. That's to have huge wings to sustain it up there.
Absolutely. Yeah, enormous, like size of. Just ridiculously sized wings. They look stupid on the ground.
I know, with the wheels at the end so they didn't snap when it landed. Ridiculously slow landing. It's weird.
I've seen it. It flies over here for the Rose Parade in California.
Well, even if the thing isn't going to prove anything, I think it's going to create media attention. And a lot of people are calling this IPS's rocket launch, but really, in a way, it's Mad Mike doing it. And if anything happens to Mad Mike, horrible as it may be, it will get more media attention. Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Well,
but
yeah,
that is true.
To me, I think that this media attention is sort of not where we want to go. It's kind of an old dying system, and the people in it are kind of zombies who are going to be controlled by the media no matter.
Yeah, that part's true.
No matter what is spun by them. So we should be the ones doing the spinning and sort of leave the media in the past where it belongs. I think that we should focus on having our people strong and very intelligent so that they can go around themselves and spread it by word.
We're not trying to convince them. We're not trying to convince them.
I feel you.
We're using their platform.
But like, how many people do you think haven't already heard through like Shaq and Kyrie and all these things? I think the people who are on this path are on a certain path to make it here. Nobody's gonna just sort of hear flat Earth and boom. They might sort of go down the rabbit hole if they hear it, sure, but
I don't know, because they're not Kyrie Irving, Shaq. They're not putting across. I mean, I couldn't do it either. I don't think anybody here could do it. If you were to try and condense all of the flat Earth arguments and present that as evidence, number one, it would take a very long time.
You can't.
Exactly. So to present it in, how do you present that information in some
It's
digestible
like your thing.
form?
Like, you can do the best you can possibly do, and it doesn't matter because the senses of the perceivers watching it, the vast majority of the population are those who are, perceiving it, and they're the ones who matter in their own minds. So it's like if they watch something that's like, just like your thing, like a little bit of wonky music at the end, that's basically enough for them to be like, oh yeah, this guy's crazy. It doesn't matter what you say. It just
I
matters
agree.
about their perception and their slight edit.
No, I totally agree. That just that tiny bit of sci-fi UFO style music on the Vice interview is enough for people to go, this is kooky. Right, when they're being left with their lasting impressions of what's being said. And it's all well and good what I said, but you've only got to put some, what's it called, the theremophone or whatever it's called. What's that instrument? A bit of that over the top of anything, and it sounds weird.
True. I've seen someone play one in New Orleans, like play. I don't know if play is the word.
Made me one out of an Arduino. I said, "Can you make a theremin out of an Arduino, son?" He went away to his bedroom, come back 10 minutes later, it was working. Brilliant.
Well,
what's your take on free media? What's your take on free media coverage? I'm not sure what your name is in the rock.
Stephen,
what's your take on free media coverage reaching millions of people?
Sorry, I thought my dog was going to attack someone. Elos, get over here. What do you mean by free media? Like just sort of.
I mean, thumbs up, thumbs down. You get Flat Earth mentioned on CNN. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Good or bad?
On CNN, I can't see that it's really helping, because when we get people who have these exposures, it's relatively bad overall. Like they have their preconceived notions, which are reinforced by all this stuff that's just being programmed into them. You know what I mean?
Did you pay attention to the 2016 election with the alt-right and Pepe the Frog and his mention at Hillary Clinton's speech on the alt-right?
Personally, I didn't pay attention to any of it, but
okay, because in that speech, she was trying to say that people who are we'll say to the left of Mao Zedong are all evil, deplorable bastards. And during that speech, somebody yelled, Pepe. Well, that little phrase, that word, made it to Rachel Maddow. She had a big meltdown because of this green frog was associated with the alt-right that they had painted up as Nazis. So the story about this Nazi frog blew up. And it actually left egg on their faces, because when people actually looked into it, they realized this is an anti-statist, anti-big government movement. It has nothing to do with hate or being deplorable. So you can actually communicate above the heads of the media by getting your memes in there. Even if they pretend not to understand it, the general public will. And the proof of this, 2016 election.
Sure, but I feel after being around in this for a while that, like I said, a lot of people who are already inclined to waking up to this sort of thing have. You know what I mean? Or on their path to it.
Also, I worry about the fact that, like I mentioned before, the documentary crew being here and filming myself, Mark, and then I'm not sure where they're going next. And then the Houston Chronicle, who was here, and then I worry about that. It is free media attention. But then again, like Stephen's saying, then we're using their tool. And maybe we should be using our own tools. But probably the best thing to do is use their tool because we're in that system, and then use our own tools at the same time.
Right. I went on Stefan Molyneux's show because I knew that I would have free reign to say whatever I wanted live. I knew
true.
That
they
it
can't
would not,
twist it. Right.
It would not be edited. He could spin it however he wanted, in his own sort of wordage and whatever. But it's not like they could edit out whatever, put weird music to it. It's like everyone there heard me out.
Yeah.
Even if they totally believed him, it was all crazy, they still heard what I had to say in full context.
Cool. I know, he's big, he's famous, isn't he, Stephen Molyneux? Yeah, really well.
I used to like Stefan Molyneux.
I watched it way back as well before I was I
liked his voice, his manner. Now I just,
No.
The way he treated you, Stephen, just made me say, never more.
Well, I've heard a lot of people who've come and said that was the first video. At first they thought that, oh yeah, Stefan's right, and then they looked into it, So I guess there's people who will look into it, like you said, IPS. But I don't know. I just don't like the mainstream media, and I guess you got your respect for doing what you're doing, man. You know, like I've liked what you've done. You know, like the council thing and the protesting thing. That was good.
Council
Well,
was
listen,
good.
somebody
Um,
searches flat Earth one time, guess what's going to show up in their feed later? And I've talked to many people who've called me who were looking for flat Earth, but it showed up in their feed and they saw one video. It caught me.
Right.
I was researching the statue of Atlas at Rockefeller Plaza, and it brought flat Earth into my feed. So I'm a firm believer in the power of memes and ideas to proliferate.
Right.
I've
guess
I've got to.
yeah.
Sorry, Martin. I was just going to say I've got to agree with Stephen in one respect, which was the first time you mentioned Fepe. That's right, isn't it? No, Pepe,
Yeah.
the frog.
Pepe.
I was like in your feed going, "Who the hell's Fepe?" And you were like, "Come on, you can't seriously," because you thought I was joking. And like Stephen, I don't watch TV. I genuinely, the last time I was forced to watch TV was because of bloody Dearth and Patricia and Antonio.
Yes.
And I was like,
last
it was
time I watched-
torture. It was absolute
watched-
torture. They made me watch the election.
The Hillary Clinton speech.
Oh, it was horrible.
Because David Weiss was saying that she's a CGI fake, she's sick, gonna die. So we all watched it to see if we could see that happen, which we really didn't. But
It played out
No,
exactly
they were
as
on phones.
expected.
She didn't show up on their phones when they were recording her.
that was previous to that. Yep. Oh, looks like Star Gods did another video about me.
I seen it. Yeah. Hippies.
Before you mention it, because so far this has been a really good conversation, just to test it, so not to be malicious, but I recorded this just to see if the call would drop, because this is connected. Forget whether the start or stop button's been going. This is connected in no different way to if I was broadcasting. It's not using any more internet. It's no different. But recording it, this call hasn't dropped once. My internet connection hasn't dropped once. Nothing has been wrong with this conversation.
God, there's been 30 odd drops there, Nathan, in the last
Yeah,
one.
I had about
That's
25
only-
drops during that show. So I'm going to say this, so just in case, well, you might not give me permission, I'll ask you afterwards, but if this does go out, PlusNet are awful. Terrible.
Oh,
But yeah, I didn't get a chance to host that show. I really wanted to talk about 1984 and didn't get a single opportunity. I got about 2 questions in to people who know a lot more about the subject than me.
You missed
Really
it.
frustrating.
don't worry, we managed. We were all right. It was good flow, Patricia, wasn't it? Good talk, I thought. What do you reckon, IPS? That was all right, wasn't it? Steve? I thought
Yeah,
I thought it went well.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean,
Good flow.
yeah, we were witnessing 1984 all around us all the time. The book, the lexicon, is what gets me. You know, Newspeak, Doublethink, Crime Stop. It's all here. We're witnessing it, and the thought policing is the angle that really caught my attention.
Yeah,
Make
agreed.
people aware
agreed.
if they're not aware. You know, 1984, since I was a flat earther, I've read it twice. Patricia once, that's 3 times. And every single time, I get a deeper context from it. It means deeper every single time. Like, I think I'll read it again. You know, like you said, there's gravity in there. You know, I just picked up that paragraph, actually.
This is the idea of thought police is the reason why I don't think there are shills, because that's what thought policing is. It doesn't mean we need them. It means that people like Flat Earth Reset will do it of their own volition. Don't need shills.
How many of them have been here? Can you remember that Carrie guy, Patricia, used to make videos about us? Some John Carey. He had like a caravan as his avatar. Now, he was there, he made half a dozen, disappeared.
I don't remember. There's been so many who've come
So
and
many.
gone.
I'm just saying,
I
that's so
think,
many. What I mean. So many. Aaron Dover, look where he is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
He's dead.
scrolling through. I'm not going to watch these videos, but I can tell by the title. There's another from
You know what? I
Star
said,
Gods.
fucking have him in
There's
his-
another from Flat Earth Reset. But then there's all sorts of great videos here. We've got Sassy Undeniably doing a
I
great
like the
video.
coachy stuff, Patricia. I think she's really pretty at doing it.
And
Really good presentation.
Nick of Phuket Word did a great video, another great
Yeah.
video
I watch
today.
those videos. They're good.
Me relaxing, aren't they?
So it's nice to see this stuff in there when I'm scrolling through the daily offerings.
Instead of
The
Never
other
makes
stuff-
a bad video. Every Phuket Word video is excellent.
It is.
The rest of the videos, I mean, people who enjoy those sorts of videos can watch them, of course, but they just don't. To me, they don't interest me. They're not doing
Same.
anything for Flat Earth. They're not doing anything for truth seeking. They're just a bunch of old women clutching their handbags and
Mike
gossiping
John-
over tea. Ugh.
Well, what do you think about this? Many of these people are like 9/11 truthers, and they're like, "Oh my God, look at the Patriot Act. They're reading our emails. They're stalking us. They're listening to our calls." And here we have people who are supposedly truthers who are acting like agents of the state, stalking, listening to our calls, reading our comments, and engaging in psychological warfare against us. I'm like, wow, that is so anti-truther.
Exactly. And straight up lying about us. Just straight up lying.
Well, I'm for my blood flat earth brothers and sisters. I am.
Yeah.
Love them all. I gotta go. I've been sitting on my full bladder for nearly an hour now.
Fair enough.
No. All right. Well, it was a lovely show. Thank you for allowing me to be on.
Before you all vanish, though,
it was nice talking to you, Stephen, IPS, Martin.
Can I publish that last 10 minutes that we've just had, that little conversation? Is that allowed, or do you all object? Do you mind?
Whatever anybody wants to do.
No. Yeah.
I think it's okay, right?
Nothing
I don't
horrible was
remember
said,
what
apart
was
from
said.
about Stargods,
Yeah,
who's a dick.
Oh yeah, but he is, and I tell him anyway, so that's no problem with that.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, go for it. Doesn't matter.
Go for it. I think we talked about 1984 quite a bit. I think we added to the discussion. So yeah, by all means.
All right.
Thank you very much. Right.
Thank
See
you
you
all
on the
for-
next
talk to
video.
you later. Bye.
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 Thanks, Nathan.
Later.